In a light-hearted tone, anything but stupid, the Manifesto of Cooking, launched by Marinetti, provoked different reactions both in the press of the time and among the futuristic Genoese. In that era, the question was the following. From one point of view, futuristic cuisine developed the idea of a landscape. The idea that a landscape was in harmony with nutrition, with diet, with food.
L'idea di paesaggio armonizzata con l'idea di nutrimento, di dieta, di cibo.
Marinetti, in his famous Futuristic Cuisine, wanted to say that all the techniques we'd accumulated over the centuries are all tied in some way to the landscape in all its forms, so it is inevitably linked to nature. In this sense, the condemnation of the old way of cooking, the war with insipid foreign dishes, death to pasta, long-lived plastic meat, this collection of provocations about the use of Italian customs was just a way of calling for a sensible diet, an appeal to ethics, a new way of referring to the changing landscape, the natural landscape, the landscape of mechanical nature. The Genoese replied like this. Ravioli, in Genoese dialect, ravier, is the queen of all first-course dishes in the world, invented by a Genoese cook. In fact, it isn't really just a pasta dish. It's become something more important, something you can wallow in, something that's almost a return to Oriental Mediterranean cooking, Muslim, exotically Asian. In a few words, the Genoese reacted to the futuristic cuisine of Marinetti with an appeal, saying, "Here we beseech your magnanimous and generous heart in the certain knowledge that we'll be pardoned by bearing witness to the exquisite and digestible nature of this dynamic ravioli, and the optimism it inspires in every red-blooded Ligurian, giving elasticity to the muscles and to the brain." But all these elements return to the idea that Genoese cooking is futuristic because it's a cuisine that travels over the sea. A Baroque cuisine. How can I say Baroque because it sails, because it's a sailor's cooking, a fisherman's cooking, but above all, a navigator's cooking that has imported Muslim cooking, Oriental cooking, Mediterranean cooking, and combined it all with Chinese cooking.
Poi continua, I cibi che si compravano o si consumavano, già fatti in luoghi deputati.
And they go on. The food that you could buy or consume in appointed places in the alleys, the so-called farinata, consisting of basic starchy ingredients like ground split pea flour, water, salt, oil, with the heat of an oven, could still be a rich dish full of oriental flavor and sunshine, something that in a very short space of time became the most popular fast food in Versilia, the Côte d'Azur, and northern Sardinia.
Di tutto l'arco che va dalla Versilia alla Costa Azzurra e del nord della Sardegna.
The tripaio, at first sight, seems like an upholsterer's shop, with its beautiful display of beef tripe hanging up in the window like precious curtain fabric. And the tripaio, the tripe butcher, like Solomon, selects a length for the brave customer who ventures in, suggesting various cuts to please the appetite. Other edible draperies of stockfish, hanging limply for every occasion, conjure up the 1,000 flavors cooks dedicate to them. The dessert par excellence is the pan dolce, but it's not alone. There's also candied fruit, the almost forgotten chinotto, chocolates, toffees, all those things that once seduced the eye in the confectioner's window. The confectioner's shop opens up a world of fantasy because it originates in the ancient Mediterranean, producing 1,000 colors, 1,000 delicious delicacies enclosed in glass bottles of all shapes and sizes that live on in the palate, the heart, and the mind. These remembered poetic futuristic flavors on the palate bring reminiscences of tastes and textures that have a tactile connection to the landscape. To end, let's talk about trenette avvantaggiate, a kind of pasta, or rather non-pasta, made of bran without any gluten, worse than bootmaker's glue. Not to be made palatable with any sauce, even sauce made with hair, but which becomes feather light on the digestion, if eaten with pesto sauce.